I ordered a Kubota, a green Kubota. Now that's not something you see every day. Welcome back to GP Outdoors. As you folks know, I began clearing trails through my property about 2 summers ago. I was using nothing but my B2601 tractor, chainsaw, my pole saw, box blade, and my grapple. Generally speaking, bucket from time to time. I got about 270 feet done. I could do it, but it was a slow process. And a number of you said I could speed it up a lot quicker if I got myself a mini excavator. So I did. It's a Kubota, a U35-4. One of the challenges I faced, of course, over several weeks to months of different research, looking at different types of excavators available for rent, talking to my dealer at Kubota, is trying to decide on what size of excavator was going to do the job for me here in the forest. So what I did is I kind of had a reference point because I'd done 270 feet already with the tractor. Kind of knew the size of the types of boulders, stumps, trees, logs down on the ground, and different debris. And what I was able to do with the tractor and the tractor's capacities gave me a reference for trying to narrow in on what the right size mini excavator was going to be. I think I nailed it. We're going to find out at the end of the project. My lovely wife and my kids have been pretty patient with me. I was supposed to have all this done probably a year or two ago, but we're definitely going to get it done now that I've got the assistance of the excavator. Let me share the overall plan. First things first, I'm going to go back at that initial 270 feet. As you folks might remember, we had a wicked storm last November, and there is a ton of debris down blocking that trail now. That'll also give me a chance to practice with the excavator because I've never used one before, as you know. When I get to the end of that 270 feet, the first trail I want to get done is I want a main trail that's going to more or less follow the west, north, and east boundaries of this property and get me back in behind the cabin. What that's going to do for me, it's going to give me a permanent marker of where my property lines are. I'll make sure I keep the trail within a few feet of those boundaries, but the good thing is over time, when those surveyor stakes that are in the ground right now disappear or go missing or rot in the ground, I'll always have a marker to know within a few feet where my property is. From there, I'm going to make what I'll call secondary trails or connector trails. So given that I've now got a main trail that circles the boundary of the property, I'm going to make secondary trails in between that will connect, give me access to different parts of the property as well as 1 or 2 more accesses back to the cabin through different parts of the forest. It'll be the first time ever I've been able to easily or reasonably access my whole property. Because as you know, there's no way in other than walking over logs and rocks and down debris. But what I do want is trails that are about 7 to 8 feet wide at the most, but something I can get my ATV, my tractors in, any equipment if I want to try to recover hardwood, and most importantly, walking trails for my family. Because I've rented this piece of equipment, I'm going to do things a little bit differently than the last time. Instead of grabbing rocks or digging rocks out of the ground or stumps or picking up downed logs and then taking them back to my burn pile or back to the rock wall, I'm on the clock here with this rental. So what I want to do is maximize the time I have with it. So what you'll probably see me doing is clearing rocks or clearing downed logs or debris and piling them in little piles along the way. Because that way, sometime in the future, I can come back with the tractor and clear them out to where they need to be. That'll minimize any downtime on the rental of the excavator and maximize the value I'm getting out of it. If you're going to rent, you're probably going to want a thumb. Let's just say it's a little cozy in here, kind of like my LX 2610. You'll see in front you've got 2 paddles here that have pedals connected to it. You can either use your feet or your hands to drive forward or reverse or turn. Operates very similar to a zero-turn mower. I've been told that as a beginner, it might be a lot easier for me just to use these hand pedals as opposed to the foot pedals. LCD screen that'll provide you some information on some of the features or functionality. Your auxiliary that runs the thumb on the bucket. It gives you an indication of how much diesel fuel you have left, how many hours, and of course the engine temperature is there. My favorite functionality, it's got a cab and it has air conditioning. And given that it's still black fly and deer fly season, and I'm going to be in the forest for the next week with the mosquitoes, I'm really happy to be able to close this cab up and have the air. A nice safety feature in any of these excavators is this red handle. The excavator will not operate in its functions until that handle is completely depressed. And in fact, you can't even start the excavator with it in the down position. You've got to keep it in the up position to get it started. When you're ready to roll, you put her down and you're good to go. You've got a joystick on the left and a joystick on the right. And you'll notice here it has a button on top. There are two different types of hydraulic configurations on these mini excavators. One is called an ISO standard, and the other one is called an SAE or a CAT standard, I understand. So if you set it to ISO or SAE, what it will do is it will reverse or flip what hydraulic functions are controlled by the right joystick versus the left joystick. And in this model, that switch to go between the two different configurations is here under the seat. Personally, I'm leaving it in the SAE position because I think it gives me a really nice advantage. When you're in that SAE or that Type B configuration, as it's called here on the panel, your right joystick will operate similarly to the joystick on my LX2610. It's on the right hand side and it will operate just like the front end loader does. If I pull it towards me, it'll curl the bucket. If I push it out, it'll dump the bucket. If I bring it back, it'll lift the boom. If I push it forward, it drops the boom. Just like the controls on the front end loader of my LX2610. The button on top works just like my third function valve for my grapple. This button will operate the thumb. On your left joystick, you push it away from you, it'll rotate the unit counterclockwise. Pull it in, it rotates the unit clockwise. You want to lift it up, it'll take the stick and pull the stick in, push it out, it will extend the stick that's attached to the boom. An interesting function on this mini excavator, and on most of them I think, is underneath this little paddle, there's a pedal left and right. And what that does is it will allow the boom to independently spin to the left or the right if you need it to do so. For example, if you're in really tight quarters and you can't spin the machine. Throttle control, on off, and it's got work lights. This little black lever here is going to drop or raise the blade on the machine. And similar to a high gear on my LX2610, if you push this green button on top, it allows the belts to drive faster. For example, if I'm traveling down the driveway and I want to get somewhere a little quicker, I can pop it up into high gear and it'll travel a little faster than it normally would. Another nice feature, similar to the tractor, there's a float position for this front blade. Nice. If I wasn't contending with black flies and mosquitoes or working in the forest, you can undo this front window and it will slide up above your head and give you a wide open view in front of you. Also has a vent window on the right hand window, slides open and closed for air, and I even have a spot for a bottle of water. Another really nice feature about this, it's really quiet in that cab. There is no hydraulic whine at all. That's going to be a welcome change. So I'm going to start out and probably remain for the rest of the week using this equipment the same way I did when I first got my B2601. I don't want to run it at full throttle all the time because similar to the tractor, when you run it at full throttle or full hydraulic flow, your hydraulic functions operate very, very quickly. And I'm just learning. So I'm probably going to run it around half throttle depending on what the feel is. I just want to be able to slow down the functions or the abilities of each of these hydraulic units so that while I'm learning how to use it or coordinate, I don't have really fast hydraulics working underneath me. I want them nice and slow, just like I did with the tractor. bad. First time. First rock, first little stump. Takes a little bit of coordination, but you start to get a little bit of a feel of it, and then of course you lose it and you lose a little orientation, but just take your time, go really slow. I like having that front blade, I just got to get to use it a little bit more. All right, first thing down, about 260 feet to go. Thumb. There we go. I think that's all I'm gonna let you see for today. I've only got probably another 60, 70 feet to finish off here to get me back to the 270 I started with, just to get this all cleared. Lots to learn. These trees, a lot of this stuff, it's all softwood, it's either brittle or it's rotted, so it's pretty easy with this excavator to be able to push logs back and get them off the trail. So I'm gonna finish cleaning this up. That's gonna be a wrap for part one, or day one. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little informative, and I hope you had the patience to watch me starting to learn. I'll see you again on the next day. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting videos, just click that little bell. Have a wonderful and safe week with your families. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you again right here on GP Outdoors. Cheers. I want to take a quick minute to thank Ben and Kevin and the good folks at Sunbelt Rentals. There are a number of locations across Ontario, possibly Canada, and they were a great team to deal with, good customer service, competitive rental rates, and on-time delivery. Thanks so much, guys. Hopefully I'll get this project done.